I think actually it was a relatively widespread lack of understanding of where we were going to head. I think the people who'd been heavily involved in looking at this, and certainly Mr. Cummings would be one, but there were many others, I think had realised by now that this was heading in a very difficult direction. But I don't think everybody in the building did. So this was not an individual, and this is again a point I make repeatedly. This was a lot of people really not getting what exponential growth was actually going to mean. I spent much of my professional career dealing with infections for which herd immunity is never achieved, herd immunity as normally understood. So essentially, so that's the first point. The second point is herd immunity was used in two completely different ways, the term was, and this caused confusion to those who were confused by herd immunity, which in my view was a lot of people. I think there was muddled up between those two completely different uses of the term, and frankly, and I touched on this yesterday, there was a large amount of chatter about this by people who had at best half understood the issue. So I think it became very confused, and as you will have seen from my correspondence, my only contribution on this really up to the point of about the 20th of March was to say to people, this is very complicated, please don't talk about it. Not because I wanted to hide it, but because I thought that a very uninformed discussion was forming that was not helping policy making. My view was it was a clearly ridiculous goal of policy and a very dangerous one, and I thought a lot of what was being said could have led to considerable confusion, and indeed did. And I think I've laid out several times in public, and I did in my statement, my view that it would have been inconceivable that this should have been an actual goal of policy, because it would have led to extraordinarily high loss of life, even if it had been achieved, which in reality it would probably not have been in the ordinary sense.